Sorry, guys.
That's very cold.
Oh, it's getting my chest. My name is Mike Ecstasy. Welcome to Hellhole.
すごい。
It's also body twisting techniques to get through stuff. Some of it.
I shouldn't be talking too much over the
Something's right over there. Hello?
It was August 2025 when Katie, the creator behind Katie Roams, a channel centered on solo camping, hiking, and unfiltered outdoor adventures, went into the woods expecting another peaceful night on her own. She discovered a calm, glassy lake bordered by tall pines, soft moss beneath her feet, and for hours, everything felt routine. Until the quiet shifted, becoming strangely tense and watchful.
Let's get in, shall we? Got my new fancy sit mat with me. Okay, I'm gonna go in. I'm really hoping it's not cold because I'm not very good with cold water. Well, let's dip.
That's very cold. That's cold. It's flipping freezing, that is, but it's kind of nice at the same time.
I've had my little dip, but I do need to get a move on because, well, it's kind of late. It's around 7 p.m. right now and I'm chilly as well. So I need to get dressed. I need to go for a wander. I need to find a spot first of all to actually camp. I was going to try and camp around the lake, but there are no flat spots that aren't boggy. There's a lot of boggy bits and the mozzies are a bit of a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and get dressed. I'm going to go on a wander and we're going to find a spot. Oh, it's cold. Let's go.
Katie slipped into her evening the way she always did. Steady, composed, and completely in her comfort zone. After a chilly swim, she noticed daylight fading quickly. She decided not to camp by the lake since mosquitoes covered the muddy edge. Instead, she hauled her gear farther into the forest and found a cushioned patch of moss where she pitched her tent.
First step is I'm gonna set up a little drying line over there. I'll show you in a second. Just so that I can hang up my towel and my swimming costume so that they can dry. It's not due to rain overnight, so should be dry in the morning. Lovely. Well, that is my tent fully set up. I'm gonna go ahead and set my sleeping system up so I've got somewhere warm to go because my hands are still a little bit cold. And then I've decided there's a lot of branches around me, so I'm gonna make myself a little chair and then we can cook some dinner. That's my plan. Let's go.
She set up her sleep system, organized her belongings, and started crafting a small bushcraft chair from fallen limbs. The consistent sound of her saw echoed through the trees until something unfamiliar drifted in. A faint hint of cigarette smoke, followed by distant male voices.
I can hear and smell a group of men. I can smell their cigarettes and I can hear them as well. So I'm just gonna leave my camera on record for like the foreseeable future until they leave. I would be quite concerned if they came any closer. So I'm just gonna leave my camera on in case, because if they come up, my camera's on. I'll be on the phone with my mum or something. I'll call my mum and just, fingers crossed they don't come. But I don't really, well, I'm out here alone and building a chair. They might be harmless, but it's better safe than sorry. So if you ever are in a situation like this, put your camera on record and call someone. It's the best thing you can do. Oh, and maybe have a knife on hand. No, I'm joking about that last bit. Or am I?
Katie glanced toward the noise but didn't see anyone. Her demeanor shifted. She quietly turned her camera on, not for filming content, but to steady her nerves. The voices became clearer, laughter mixed with a deep bass line coming from someone's speaker. She noted that any woman camping alone would feel unsettled hearing a group of men close by after dark.
I don't know if you can hear that, but the scary men are now playing music and smoking cigarettes. Okay, if you're playing music on a speaker, loud, in a forest, which is very peaceful, and chain smoking cigarettes, you're not good vibes. If you can hear that, I'm sorry, because it's also ruining my time. I have no idea what genre that is. I thought I'd got rid of chavs when I left England, but apparently not. Sorry guys. Okay, made an indent. Now that I've got my chair finished, I do believe it's time for some dinner. An update on the men. They are staying over there, probably about 50 meters away from me. They came over to say hello. They said they saw a light, which is this light. And they said hello, invited me for beers and for dinner. I said no thank you. Yeah, hopefully all is good. I'm sure everything will be fine. First of all, I don't drink. So, I just said, sorry, I don't drink, or, and I've had dinner already, which I haven't. I'm just making my dinner now. Ah.
As she continued, the group's music grew louder, carrying through the forest. Eventually, when they spotted her camp light, they called out in a casual, friendly way, offering drinks and food. Katie politely turned them down, pretending she'd already eaten, yet the calm atmosphere she'd built had disappeared. Later, once night fully settled, she made a simple dinner of soup and dried bread, laughing softly when she realized she'd forgotten her spoon. She attempted to stay at ease, but the music kept blasting. Approaching midnight, she'd had enough. She broke down her tent, packed everything up, and hiked back toward her vehicle. By 12:30 a.m., she was finally inside her car, drained, irritated, but unharmed. She admitted she was frustrated, but also relieved.
Well, I am back at the car. It is around 12:30, pushing on 1 a.m. right now. I'm really disappointed that I had to leave, but safety-wise, I'm very glad that I made the decision to leave, because it is the reality of being a solo traveller or just being a solo camper and things like that. Things do go wrong and there's no support system out there. So it is okay to leave if you don't feel safe. If the energy isn't right, just leave. It's not hard, just pack up and go. I walked straight past them. I did not acknowledge them. I was like head down and off I went.
Sometimes choosing to leave is the wisest decision. Viewers later commended her judgment. Many women shared similar experiences of packing up at night when something just didn't feel right. In solo camping, intuition isn't overreaction, it's self-protection. Was it simply the noise that pushed her to go, or something deeper she sensed before anyone appeared? At times, the silence after leaving says more than the sounds that made you walk away. On November 8th, 2025, the action-adventure twins, two brothers known for venturing into some of America's most hazardous cave systems, set out to explore a place locals refer to as the mailbox. Their channel centers on squeezing through the narrowest underground passages, walking the line between excitement and panic with every descent. But this cave earned its reputation. An opening so tight and so deep, it felt like dropping straight into the Earth's core.
Oh no. Dude, I messed up. Yeah, dude, don't go in head first. Oh, dude, there's a huge freaking spider up there. Yeah. I can do anything but the spiders. Oh no. Dude, they're everywhere, man. Just follow the roof. Dude, the floor looks like it's made of wood over here. I swear. It's like tree roots. Oh! Dude, that's slick. Who put this rope here? Well, there's a rope that goes up. We're supposed to climb that. Really? Yeah. That's a Walmart rope. not even sure what it's telling. This is crazy. I know. This one's really hard to climb.
Almost immediately, second thoughts surfaced. The walls tightened quickly, forcing every movement to remain deliberate, tense, and heavily restricted. Then came the spiders, large, motionless, clinging to the rock as if observing from the dark. They continued downward, their voices echoing along glossed stone as the passage steepened and grew even riskier. Their only safeguard was a lone rope, thin, frayed, jokingly referred to as a Walmart rope, loosely secured to a tree root above. It was the kind of setup that reminds you how fragile confidence becomes beneath the surface. The root narrowed into an even tighter squeeze. To pass through, they had to remove their helmets, exhaling sharply as they slid inch by inch farther into the rock. At one moment, one brother nearly got pinned, his helmet catching before he finally slipped free.
Oh yeah, it's going up good actually. Seems to have a rope down there. Dude, it just keeps going. It was tied to a root. A root? Yeah. What? So all these things we saw are roots. Yeah. That's why they look like roots. Whoa, there's actually a fat rope that goes down. Rope, huh? A big old fat one. I'm not gonna lie, dude, I don't know how we got here. We'll figure it out. I don't know where my backpack is. That's just off in the middle of the cave. Yeah. That rope goes deep. Oh! Dude, that goes 60 foot. It's another set of ropes. Oh, you gotta have some sure footing. Guess we're going down this one with the knots. Wow, it just keeps dropping. I think that's the bottom, about 20 foot down. Well, I'm looking all right. This is bad. Yeah, why did the rope have to stop halfway down? I know, right? Oh, it's getting my chest. Oh, this isn't gonna be good. No. I think I'm gonna be hanging from my helmet. You might not be able to get back up. I think I'm gonna be hanging from my helmet, dude. Oh. Well, it fit. Holy crap, if it didn't, I would have been hanging from my helmet. No. It drops like another 20, 30 feet. Holy crap. Okay, I'm getting off on this level. Okay. Huh. I found a bucket. Oh. Dude, there's a bunch of clay sculptures in here. Yeah, there's military boxes. And a rope that goes up. What the heck? We got some good artwork in here. We got a giant beetle that's powered by a battery over here. See that? That's a nice cobra and hot dog. What? A cobra and hot dog. Oh, the cobra, yeah. I took a picture of it. What the heck? This is weird. I know. It's like a shrine. I know. And then a classic rope that goes up to who knows where. Wow. Oh, that's creepy. There's like a little figurine up there just staring down at us. Ledger. Old ledger was destroyed. 2024 they started this one. Alright, it's just a bunch of people who signed this. Hey, I'm from Japan. OMG, this hole. Look, we got this random guy a shout out here. My name is Mike Ecstasy. Welcome to Hellhole at 808 MXTC. I produce and make music. We got somebody named Vitali Gnarly Noah. What is this guy saying?
They're spreading healing frequencies out to the world. That's Mike Ecstasy. Dude, you're all the same guy! Get out of here, Mike!
Past the choke point, the cave widened into a larger room. Their lights illuminated objects arranged around the floor. Clay figures shaped like a beetle, a snake, and a small person-like form staring from the dark. They referred to the room as a shrine. The air felt unnervingly quiet. On one wall, a notebook displayed the signatures of former explorers, names left like a tally of those who'd returned. At the far end, a Buddha statue sat untouched, eerie yet oddly soothing. Before making their exit, they placed a spare headlamp on a ledge, though whether it was meant as a gesture or a warning remained uncertain. Then, they began the long crawl back through the same crushing tunnels, scraping against rock until daylight finally reappeared. Their laughter at the entrance wasn't casual. It was the kind that escapes only after being consumed by darkness for too long. Viewers joked about the spiders and the absurd tightness of the cave, but most agreed the true fear wasn't the physical challenge. It was the psychological weight. Claustrophobia doesn't originate from the rock around you. It builds inside your own mind and waits for the moment you recognize it. The brothers left a light behind for whoever comes next. But when that light eventually fades, what kind of person will follow it into the hollow? It was early November, along a quiet bend of the Allegheny River in Pennsylvania, when Sam, the creator of the Northwest Wind, a channel built around stealth camping, fishing, and outdoor adventures, arrived to spend the night on a small slice of riverside property he was considering buying. His plan was simple: sleep in his truck, cook dinner, and decide whether the place felt right. But as daylight faded, the calm along the river began taking on an oddly heavy tone. As evening settled, Sam arranged a small camp beside his truck. He made dinner in an air fryer hooked to his portable generator, its steady hum blending with the soft flow of the river nearby. He ate quietly, mentioning to the camera what appealed to him and what didn't. The steep drop, the muddy incline, the thin strip of level ground. By full dark, he had made a decision. The area was pleasant, yet something about it felt off. Later, as he prepared to sleep, the quiet fractured. A sudden, piercing sound tore through the woods.
There's a really up noise coming from the woods right now. It sounds like a woman screaming. I was sitting in my front seat with the heated seat on, warming up. It's been dark for a long time now, and it sounds like a woman screaming bloody murder. Listen. Literally, I'm freaking out right now. I don't know what the hell that was, but that has me absolutely terrified. I'm not lying. Literally, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't know what that was. It literally hang on, I feel like I'm being watched right now. This isn't even funny. I was on the phone. Okay, I'm gonna get in here and I'm gonna lock these doors. And it sounded like somebody was screaming bloody murder. It sounded like a human. It sounded like a woman was being tortured or beaten. I was on the phone with Jessica and I kept hearing it, and I opened my door and it got more severe, like it was more blood curdling. And I literally told her, as I'm picking up the camera to start recording, I said, let me call you right back. And I opened the door and it was really loud and it sounded really close. And now it just stopped. As soon as I got out there and started filming, I had my flashlight. As soon as I started talking, it stopped. Shh. Hello? Are you okay? Are you okay? Hello? Something's right over there. Hello? We're getting out of here. I'm getting out of here. I don't like the feeling that I have. I don't like that feeling at all, so we're gonna go.
A scream, distant yet unmistakably human, It cut through the night with a raw intensity that made his pulse spike. He froze, listening. The scream came again, louder this time, carrying a note of pain and urgency. Startled and uncertain, Sam climbed into his truck and locked the doors. The noise had seemed incredibly close. He described it as a woman's cry, something impossible to brush aside. Sitting in the dark, he noticed the woods had gone unnervingly still, as if everything had stopped moving. When he called out to check if someone needed help, no one replied. Rattled, he decided it was best to leave.
I'm telling you, sounded like an adult woman, an older woman, screaming bloody murder, blood curdling, like severe pain, or like they were dying. That's the way I felt. I heard noise through my windows being shut on the truck. I heard noises, and it was like intermittent, every 10 to 15 seconds, like a 2 or 3 seconds. And I was like, thought I was hearing things, and I thought maybe it's some geese or birds or something. The river's right there, but it became more and more unsettling as I was on the phone with Jessica, to where I literally said, let me call you right back, and I hung up the phone without hearing her say anything, and I grabbed my camera, and I opened my door, start talking, and I hear the last 1 or 2 as I'm about to open my door. I don't know if it was recording yet at that point. I haven't gone back to look yet. And when I get out and start talking, it stopped. I've been in the woods 1,000 nights, and I've never heard a sound like that. In my mind, that was 100% a woman screaming. I can't get the thought out of my head, honestly. It's scaring me right now. Hearing those noises in my head again, it's scaring me. Because in my mind, I'm 100% confident that it was a woman screaming. I honestly feel like I need to call the state police or something and just tell them what I heard. Yeah, hi. I'm out in... I was out camping, and I heard, I believe it was a woman screaming in great distress.
So where are you, Sam?
I drove back...
Road. How far did you travel?
Probably a mile in, maybe a little more.
Okay, and then you heard yelling coming from the Allegheny Rivers there. Do you think she was somebody along the riverbank?
I don't know. It sounded up, and I was on the phone with my wife with the window.
Yet even after driving off the property, the sound looped in his head. It didn't resemble an animal. It didn't match anything he recognized. Eventually, he pulled over, dialed 911, and reported what he'd heard. Minutes later, officers arrived, their flashing lights cutting through the trees as they searched the nearby cabin and the forested slope around it.
I'm just gonna stay here with my light. Ready to go. I'm checking out this cabin, and it's making me extremely nervous. This is the most thing I've ever experienced while filming a video. I'm shaking right now. It's cold, but I'm sweating and I'm shaking. All right, they've got their things drawn in there, checking doors and windows and stuff. Let me turn this off. Safe, and I wouldn't feel right if I didn't call, so whether it's nothing or something, be safe, and I just, thanks, brother, have a good night, be safe. All right, well, they said they saw another house through the woods, and they're gonna go talk to them, so, all right, okay, all right, let's get out of here.
Sam watched from a distance as police moved across the property. They said little before heading off to investigate another spot, leaving him to absorb how drastically the night had shifted. What began as a simple test camp had turned into something far stranger, far heavier than he expected. Viewers later debated the sound. Some argued it was a red fox or a bobcat. Others insisted it was a woman or something unexplained. Most agreed on one point. Contacting authorities was the right call. Was it a real plea for help An animal's call? Or something that never wanted to be found? Whatever it was, Sam left that night and never returned. On November 2nd, 2025, paranormal explorer Jose Flores, the creator behind the YouTube channel Jose Flores Terror, ventured deep into a forest locals call El Bosque de las Brujas, the Forest of the Witches. His channel focuses on solo overnight investigations in places tied to dark folklore and fear, and this night, filmed under the lingering shadow of Halloween, would bring him closer to the unknown than anything he had encountered before. Jose started just before sunset, recounting the stories connected to the woods.
Hay un extraño bosque que es denominado como el Bosque de las Brujas, y lo han denominado de esta manera, ya que las personas han tenido distintos encuentros con brujas en este lugar. Supuestamente se dice que este bosque está infestado de brujas, ya que han visto bolas de fuego que aterrizan directamente en este lugar. La idea es quedarme a acampar completamente solo y pasar la noche en este lugar para ver si todo lo que se cuenta de este bosque es completamente cierto.
Residents spoke of drifting fireballs, bolas de fuego, and hikers who vanished without a trace. Only one survivor had ever returned, claiming his companions were taken after strange lights settled between the trees. With a packed backpack and steady voice, Jose continued deeper, marking his route carefully so he wouldn't lose his way.
Después de ya un buen rato, ya terminé de armar la casa de campaña. Yo creo que está bastante amplio este lugar. Y ahorita voy a meter todas las cosas adentro. La idea pues es permanecer dentro de la casa de campaña todas estas horas. Y conforme vaya avanzando el tiempo, pues ir a dar recorridos a través del bosque, tratando de no perderme, pero caminar entre medio del bosque para ver. Los juro que acabo de escuchar como si alguien hubiera silbado en la parte de atrás. No sé si se captó ahí en cámara, pero yo escuché como un silbido. Voy a abrir la casa de campaña, voy a meter las cosas. Está complicado únicamente utilizar una mano para hacer las cosas, pero pues bueno, ahorita termino de abrir la casa de campaña y pues bueno, ya voy a comenzar ahora sí instalarme adentro ya.
While searching for a campsite, the forest reacted with soft footsteps. They approached from behind, faint at first, then closer, forcing him to stop mid-explanation. After choosing a clearing and setting up his tent, another sound broke the quiet. 2 low whistles drifting from somewhere in the darkness. Inside the tent, Jose checked his equipment and noted the time, 9:11 p.m. on Halloween night. The details shifted the tension around him. His phone showed no signal, and the forest had fallen completely silent except for the wind brushing the fabric.
Por más que intentaba estar tranquilo dentro de la casa de campaña, se escuchaban continuamente pasos y ruidos extraños que aparentemente daban a indicar que alguien más estaba conmigo o que algo extraño me estaba acechando esa noche.
Acabo de salir ahorita porque de nuevo se están escuchando pasos. Ay, eso que se escuchó, si no me equivoco, es como una lechuza. Sí, eso es una lechuza que está volando por aquí cerca. Voy a ver si alcanzo hoy. Mucha gente que no cree que este tipo de animales tenga que estar relacionado con las brujas, pero es extraño.
Then came the cry of a lechuza, an owl long associated with witchcraft in Mexican legends. Moments later, a sudden sweet scent surrounded him. He remarked that aromas appearing without explanation were said to signal the arrival of something unholy. He then heard what resembled soft moaning, followed by fast, deliberate footsteps circling his tent. The nylon shook violently from the outside. His breathing quickened, his narration stopped, and through the mesh, a pale face appeared, white, motionless, staring directly at him. He froze.
Oy, oy, oy. ¿Quién eres? Hey. ¿Quién anda ahí? Hey. Estaba parado aquí, algo blanco observándome. Estaba mirándome fijamente. Los juro que esto no es montado, se los juro 100%. Había algo blanco observándome y se alcanzaba a ver como una cara blanca. Había algo viéndome acá. Se los juro de verdad. Estoy temblando ahora mismo. Estoy temblando. No sé qué hora hacer, está haciendo muchísimo frío. Yo voy a terminar, voy a desarmar la casa de campaña y me voy a ir de acá. Yo lo siento, la verdad. Muchos quieren que yo me quede toda la noche y despierte acá y me levante acá. Pero al ver este tipo de cosas y estando solo completamente, ustedes pueden ver lo alterado que estoy en este momento y que esto no se trata de ningún tipo de juego. Estoy solo acá. ¿Quién me va a estar ayudando a hacer todas estas cosas? No hay nadie acá. Voy a desarmar la casa de campaña y yo me voy de acá. Yo lo siento, pero me voy a retirar de acá. Yo estoy solo acá, me estoy arriesgando 100%. Yo no puedo permitir que haya alguna persona que esté por acá acechándome, que haya alguien cerca de mí, no sé qué sea, pero me voy a retirar de acá.
Whispering that what he was seeing was real. Within minutes, he tore down his setup and ran. Even as he sprinted through the forest, footsteps echoed behind him, not close enough to reach him, but never distant enough to ignore. Eventually, he reached the river, crossed it, and saw his car waiting in the dark. His final words, trembling yet firm, insisted that none of what happened was fabricated. Viewers later noted that 2 separate whistles were captured in his recording. Some connected them to the Bruja folklore, while others believed they served as a warning. But almost everyone agreed. The fear in his voice was unmistakably real. Jose escaped the forest unharmed, but one detail lingers. He never identified the source of that sudden scent. Locals claim witches reveal their presence that way, which leads to the question, what if it wasn't the forest calling to him, but something that had already noticed him? On January 16th, 2022, deep inside an unnamed lava-formed cave network, the Caveman Hikes team returned for another mapping run. Their channel is built on squeezing through brutal passages and entering places most people insist they'd never step foot in. This time, Caveman, Gary, Calvin, and Arlen faced a system so constricted that even breathing required strategy. From the first crawl, the rock made it clear nothing would come easy. At the entrance, Caveman had to break off protruding stone just to slip inside. The opening squeeze felt more like being clamped between slabs than entering a passage, and his warning held weight. This was terrain only experienced cavers should attempt. It was a mapping day, and the cave didn't care who chose to enter. But the narrow darkness ahead carried an even sharper sense of risk.
Now let's get Gary through there.
I shouldn't be talking too much over the shove me.
I know. We can get you through. There's also body twisting techniques to get through stuff. Some of it, you can twist your body, you can get through a smaller space.
I know that, like, I can put shoulders by just pulling, like Superman or one of the... Oh, sir. What? Come help me.
Okay, we're coming.
It takes a moment for the other cavers to notice there's a problem.
Do you want back?
On his first attempt to the tightest portion of the entrance,
right,
one of the cavers has become stuck in the passage. These kinds of maneuvers can be dangerous if the caver is alone.
Oh.
But with the team present, assistance is always close by.
I will.
The caver is wedged in a small passage, hands down and at his side. He now has almost no leverage to move himself free. Calvin moves himself into position where he can pull his team member by his ankles backward until he is free. With limited space, it is always a fight for leverage.
Want more? I'm gonna keep hold of this one.
Gary dropped in first, arms locked tight against his sides as he dragged himself through the initial restriction. Plastic sheets scraped beneath his chest, helping only slightly as stone pressed close from every angle. The next pinch was worse, longer, tighter, and unrelenting. Each inch forward required effort. Then the cave proved its dominance. Midway through, one member became wedged so tightly he couldn't move at all. Calvin grabbed his boots and pulled him backward, freeing him only after the crushing pressure eased. They widened the rock again before continuing. Arlen, still recovering from cracked ribs and a fractured jaw, moved with steady, careful determination. Relief reached the group only when they finally cleared the squeeze. Hours later, they reached the looped corridor that fed back toward the original entrance. Each person angled upward through the final opening, careful to avoid the trough below that could trap them if they misjudged their position. Crawling out felt like peeling themselves out of the cave's grasp. Caveman emerged with torn clothing, a record of every harsh surface they had scraped against. Even viewers watching from home felt their heartbeat spike at the sight of those passages. Many admitted they'd never step into a cave again, saying that even an MRI now felt roomy by comparison. The real fear wasn't the darkness, it was losing the ability to move at all. And as the team escaped with only inches to spare, one question lingered. If these are the tunnels humans can physically survive, how many tighter ones remain untouched simply because no one should ever attempt them? On September 20th, 2024, Mame from Mame Channel, a creator known for traveling solo to Japan's most haunted locations, returned to the abandoned silver mines of Inai-Ginzan in Akita. In daylight, the ruins felt like the remnants of an old tragedy. But once the forest darkened and night settled over the sealed mine entrance, the place carried a heaviness that didn't feel completely empty. He started his journey in Saitama, resuming his nationwide visits to haunted spots and announcing the release of his upcoming book. As the day progressed,
秋田県着きました。なんかあっちの方すげえ。山。超綺麗。すごいすごい。で、今日はね、ひとまず、ホテルに泊まって休みます。明日昼からちょっと、院内銀山見に行こう。やばいやばい、くっそ雨降ってきた。最悪だ。初日からまさかこんなびしょびしょになるとは。この辺だけど、あ、これか。着きました。
He shifted to discussing Inai-Ginzan, a site known for its thousands of graves, collapsed tunnels, and stories of fires. Yet the discomfort he felt there seemed tied less to the past and more to something unseen. The farther he walked, the stronger that presence felt. The next day, he researched the mine's history at the Heritage Museum before stepping into the forested ruins of the former settlement. Moss-covered gravestones lined the hillside, and even the statue of Cannon seemed different than it had earlier. Locals had warned that electronics often malfunctioned in this area, and as he wandered through the artifacts, that warning stayed on his mind. Still, the real test would come after dark. By evening, heavy rain followed him back to the mine entrance. He set up his tent directly in front of the sealed shaft, unsettled by what sounded like a man's voice, and then a child's, carried faintly through the storm. When he left camp to climb toward the shrine in the darkness.
すごいな。なんかまた赤くなってないやっぱ。気のせいじゃなかった。なんで？ちょっと待って、やばいやばい。めっちゃ怖い。お邪魔しました。月明かりまで来ましたね。こんばんは。とりあえず観音様のところへ戻りますか。そしたらこの辺でスピリットボックス使ってみますか。この観音様の近くで。こんばんは。夜遅くにすいません。誰かいますか？なんか横切んなかった。なんか影が横切んなかった。こんばんは。誰かいませんか？すいません、どうもありがとうございました。失礼します。応答なしですね。暗闇にしてみますか、ここで。よし。赤外線定点カメラで。これやっぱ声みたいにするんだよね。じゃあ消しまーす。あっ、すごい。ちょっと待って、動けないな。やばいな、やばいな、やばいな。すごい圧迫感。暗闇に押しつぶされそうな感じですね。なんか包まれてる。みたいな言わなかった。誰か。もう一回消しまーす。ちょっともう疲れた。歩き疲れた。ちょっ ちょっと待って。わかんない。もう足音に聞こえた、普通に。もういっか。頑張ったよね。すいません、本当ありがとうございました。お邪魔しました。あ、はい。失礼します。女の人の声しなかった。すいません、本当ありがとうございました。お邪魔しました。ほら、普通に人が喋ってる感じしますね。よし。そしたら戻りましょう、テントまで。そういえば雨やみましたね。めっちゃ嬉しい。戻ってきました。よし。テント戻ろう。こんばんは。戻ってきました。マジでここに寝るのか。
The feeling of being watched stayed close behind him, and something seemed to track his steps on the descent. At the cannon statue, his camera briefly lost audio, and later, the infrared lens shifted into unnatural colors as he walked through the burial grounds. More than once, he heard what sounded like conversation, despite the mountain being empty at that hour. When he returned to his tent, the sudden disappearance of his back pain felt as strange as everything else. But the night wasn't done with him. He let the infrared camera run as he tried to rest. Footsteps moved around his tent.
なんかこっちが行動なんですけど、なんかすっごい気配する。雨降ってきましたね。最悪や。すごい雨音。ということで寝る準備ができたので寝ます。寝れるかこれ。でも超眠い。音みたいにしなかった。現在時刻2時ですね。それは眠いわけだ。一応テント内も赤外線カメラずっと回していきたいと思います。すみなさい。足音と話し声みたいに聞こえる。
Followed by faint voices he couldn't identify. Near dawn, while packing his gear, a sharp metallic clang echoed from deep within the sealed mine, like metal striking stone far below. He froze, realizing it came from a tunnel no one had entered for decades. The sound lingered long after he rode away. Some viewers said the voices resembled the adult and child tones often reported at haunted locations, while others noted that the camera's odd color shifts lined up with claims of electrical interference in the area. A few suggested the noises might come from wildlife common in Akita's mountains. But if the mine was sealed, and no one else was near during the storm, then what caused that final metallic impact inside the tunnel? And more importantly, who or what was still at work in the dark? That's it for tonight. Which moment creeped you out the most? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story? Share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.